Welcome to Dungeon Call Live. I'm Travis Oates. This is Above Board's foray into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. And Q&As for today. Let me introduce to you the players that are going to take part in this Q&A. Over here we have Leif Gantvoort.
You had to check notes.
Yeah. Shea Parker. Brian Spillane. And over here we have Dan Billet.
Hello.
Alexa Cappiello.
What's up?
Jason Charles Miller.
I feel like after 79 episodes, it's a little bit more than a foray.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And Ashleigh Morghan.
Hi, y'all.
Is that a 5-ray?
A 5-ray?
4-ray?
After a 4-way?
Yeah.
That's the part that we usually cut out of the episodes.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
jokes of Leif.
You're going to find tonight why we pre-tape everything.
It's because of Leif.
Mostly because of Leif.
That's not fair.
But it's true.
So tonight, for a variety of reasons, and mostly because of what's been going on in Los Angeles, we were not able to tape our final 4 episodes in the time that we normally would. So last few weeks, you've seen some character introductions, and tonight we're going to do a live Q&A. Our last 4 episodes of season 1 will start next week. So
Yay!
If that's all you're interested in finding out, you can leave now.
Wait, no,
What?
you
No,
never
no,
say
no.
that.
But tonight we wanted to give you a chance to communicate with us live and to ask some questions about what we do here. I know that we sometimes can get on the chat and try and answer your questions while you're watching the show, but that, of course, that can be distracting for you. So now it's just question and answer. So we do have some questions that have been asked ahead of time by folks on social media. And I'm going to start with one of that.
All right.
So the first question we have is, how long did it take to create the world and the characters? What was the preparation process like?
Okay, I'll take that one,
I
Travis.
did bring something. What?
So I'll take that one, Travis.
Sure. Well, I did bring something to show you guys how long. So this, I found this, I don't know if you can get close in on me, or as close as you can, but this is a book. It says Lear Source Book Wizards. This all is just wizards from Lear, and their character kits for 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons back in 1998 is when I prepared this. I actually created the gods and the world even before that when I was 19 years old, I think, which I am not anymore, not even close.
So it's taken 50 years to do that.
So answer your question.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly.
50 years.
So the world and the characters have been developing. I've had 2 major campaigns as a in not in front of the camera games that took place in the world of Lear, and I've been developing this world for a long time. Now, as far as the preparation process for everybody here, so we started this last not 2024, but 2023. We actually got together. We played Dungeons and Dragons for about 6 to 8 weeks, something like that in there. There are a few more people who started the process, and we kind of...
And they
didn't make the cut.
They didn't make the cut.
It down as a survivor style.
If your character dies, you actually die.
Yeah.
Travis, Janisha
because-
Rios would like
Sure.
to also ask, where did you get the inspiration from?
so we have that in too.
You know, it's the weirdest thing. I'm a writer for a living, and when I was 19 years old, I was writing my first novel, and I wanted a world for that novel to take place in, and I wanted to have the world have a set of gods, and so I started sitting down and creating a pantheon, and everything grew from that. The novel went nowhere. I discovered about 120 pages into the novel on my Apple IIc, the disc got corrupted, and I did not have it in me to write another 120 pages. It was lost, and I just couldn't start it over again. But that pantheon continued on and I was really into D&D, and so that kind of became that world.
So had that book made it, we might not be here today.
Yeah, hard to say. Hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. but yeah, so a lot of the people here had never played. For show of hands, who had not played D&D before we started this, or at least, played like one or two sessions.
Putting my hands down.
Never before.
Exactly. So that means if we don't count Jason Charles Miller, who's one of the ringers, and Becca, by the way, Becca couldn't be here tonight, and she sends her regards.
Hi, Becca.
So we only had, so that's what, just 2 people that were familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, and everybody else was pretty new to it.
I mean, I'm sure you haven't been able to tell that at all.
And actually, I know you're making a joke, but you guys have done a really, really good job of, it's a complex thing, and one of the most difficult parts of this, because we did sit down when we started this, and I gave you opportunities of which worlds. I had 3 different worlds that this could technically take place in.
Yeah.
And Lear was one of the most complex, but it was the one I knew the best.
And I mistakenly thought it was Shakespeare.
Sure.
That's how little I knew about it.
Sure.
If you don't mind, I remember one of the other worlds that you were talking about. If you don't mind me saying a little bit about it.
Oh, no.
Leif, get the phone. Come on.
This is live, guys.
I think we might have our first caller.
Oh my God.
Go ahead and get that up. Oh, yes.
Hello?
Yes. There seems to be a problem with putting the call through, but the caller does have a question. Who is Travis's favorite player? And that's coming from Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita, Kansas. Thank you, first of all, for calling me on an old-timey phone that doesn't have a wire attached. That's very impressive. I'm gonna set the phone down because it's not real.
Yeah, I can.
Not?
Who is my favorite character?
No, favorite player.
Favorite player.
Yes, let's get real,
All
everybody.
right, now, I'm.
Preface it.
You love all your players.
I love all my players
Equally.
equally. But if I was to choose my favorite player, it would probably be Dan. And I'll tell you why. It's because Dan can often read my mind, and as the DM, I'm going, God, could you just make up Dan will go, perhaps you should just make up our minds and move on. And I'll go, thank God, Dan. Thank God Dan is trying to make it move on. But you were gonna say.
The other world, I don't remember it exactly, but I do remember the big difference was that Lear is this world of gods, and the other world was this world of dragons, and everyone has a dragon.
Right, that was called Durasis.
Yeah, we definitely didn't do that world also in the middle of Lear.
Right. No, we did, but yeah, Durasis is actually very different than Lear, and that's another campaign world that I created back in the day.
Sis Boom Ba, who asked that question, did say that it would be Dan.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm like, what,
We all knew it would be Dan. We all knew.
It is accurate that Dan is the only person who played in a game where I was the DM previous.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Who's had a leg up, guys?
He played.
So you have favoritism.
You played in the world that was like that was.
There were a couple that sort of didn't get very far because the groups became too unwieldy.
Sure.
But there was the one world which was great, which was like the Gilded Age version of the United States, but D&D, which was really fun. It's like basically 1890s.
It was the late 1800s, as if the D&D world had progressed to the industrial age.
Me too.
Yeah, sounds like it was a real good time.
Somebody would like
sounds
to point
real
out that
fun.
maybe it's because he rolled multiple critical ones.
Yeah, well, there's also that, like the drama, right? That's always fun.
It's funny because you kind of are defined by the things that happen early to your characters. Like the idea that you had for your character was completely different.
After episode 1.
That you just became like Don Knotts because of what happened in episode 1.
I'm amazed that there was ever a different idea.
You came in with like a really cool backstory, like a cool rider backstory, and then you're just like
I was
blubbering.
number one way cooler than all of you, certainly than I am now. And
You were, and I don't know if this has come up but you were a former follower of Erno, who's the god of Bachelor.
yes, in fact, that backstory is coming out. I've tried not to force it into the storyline,
Sure.
but where the opportunity is, we will learn more about me in future seasons.
Can we also go back to when we were picking characters and how Brian wanted to pick the person that went into a rage?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't know the rage part, but I wanted to pick the
Yeah.
person that was vengeful. And
Yeah.
the reason I was gravitated to that, I said, oh, this is a strong arc. If I have vengeance, then
Sure.
I have a clear path. That's what appealed to me.
Yeah.
How did that shift? Did you just like kick him down and steal his lunch money? And
Basically,
then say,
yeah.
no, I'm doing this.
Leif used rage in real life, and then Brian gave
He
it.
just got in first. Like, he like, came in early that one day.
And it was already
like, "Here,
taken."
take it.
What-
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as bad as Alexa. Alexa,
Oh God.
for the 2 weeks leading up to when we started,
So true.
would call me up like in the middle of the night and just be like, I want to play this character instead, and she just kept changing what character she was going to play.
Yes, I have decision paralysis.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, and in your defense, there are 150
I know, there were a
different
lot.
characters between the 48 gods of Lear that you can play within this. So it's just a huge amount of things to choose from. And from a beginner player, like that's really tough.
That's almost as many.
Oh my God.
I want to get that, Travis.
Can I just say, by the way, this is not a device that we
Talked about beforehand, yeah.
ahead of time, or else I would have next.
Oh yeah, we have
Yes.
another caller, Travis.
Surprise, Travis.
How long have you all known each other?
All right, that is a great question. I'm going to hang up on you now to answer it. We have a show of hands for those who were in Acme. You, Ashleigh is lying.
Actually,
So those
He
three.
didn't say, raise your hand if your name is Ashley.
Thank you, Brian, for the
Acme.
clarification.
So I used to own a sketch comedy
Theater.
theater.
Club.
Well, no, I'm thinking like a comedy club.
Oh, comedy. Yeah, it was a comedy theater.
Give me an
This
extracurricular
comedy
club.
theater named Acme Comedy Theater, and those three were sketch performers. In fact, a lot of the people on the channel were sketch performers at this place that I used to teach and own. Jason and I have known each other since I got married, so 22
Right.
years.
Yeah.
He was at my
I
wedding.
met him at his wedding.
Yeah, he
22 years.
really did. He
Just
really
wandered
did.
in?
Yeah.
No. In fact, he helped fix the
PA system.
PA system.
Back when he had a catering job.
I was a guest of someone who was invited, and then saw that the PA system was malfunctioning, and I don't know, had the hubris enough to jump in and fix it. I
Yeah,
guess.
and the person you came to we lost track of through the
Yeah.
years, and you and I stayed like really good friends. I directed a film, and you did the music for my film, and
I mean, Action Plan is asking, did your band play at Travis's wedding?
No.
No.
no, I wish
I was
I
just
couldn't
a guest.
afford him, especially back then. Shea, I've known since we did the pilot for Above Board when it was for streaming, because you came in, you were an influencer, and you came in and you did something with us.
Well, you had talked to me about potentially joining the team.
Sure,
back
if we
then.
got picked up.
If
that
you got
was the
picked
idea.
up, and then and you invited me to the screening, and while I was there, I was like an extra in one of the in the audience shot. I was like very in the front,
Yeah.
something like that. And then
because you were a paladin.
Yeah,
Right,
you
that's
did.
That's right. That was after the pilot shot, I think. But
Well, no, that was
before the pilot.
Wasn't that the sketch that we did?
Because that was
The green
you
screen.
weren't. It wasn't the screening. You were there for the audience, live audience.
Yeah, it was
Filming,
live audience.
for the
Yeah,
filming.
We did a
Well, no, yeah,
sketch.
yeah, there
that
was a sketch.
about
Yeah.
how everybody hates the paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
on
you-
the
you
team.
came in as the
And
paladin.
you-
So great. Travis calls me and he's like, "Hey, we were gonna have someone do this. He had to back out last minute, and I know you're really big into D&D, and we wanted to get you in and stuff. So let's just bring you in." And the idea was like, as Dan was saying, like everyone hates the paladin, and that was a really funny moment. And then as we get there, I'm looking at the script and realizing the person I was subbing in for was Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
And the one through line of it was everyone hates the paladin except for this one person.
Except for Pauline, who was in love with you. Yeah.
Who's in love with me.
Yeah.
Because of how stunningly masculine I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm glad that still carried through, but like everything else.
You'll
I don't
notice
know.
that sketch never aired, but
and
not for that reason.
Most of the things that got shot, but yeah.
and and Ashleigh and Alexa, they were brought on when we started the channel back up again. Because we needed people who were under the age of 1 million.
But also, Alexa and I did UCB together, so we've known each other, and this weird cosplay thing.
together.
So I've known Alexa since I moved to LA.
Oh, wow.
Since like, what was it, 2016? Yeah. Since 2016.
Yeah, so that's how.
People want to know if Jason and Becca might make an appearance next season, just because they are special guests.
Well, I don't want to give anything away too much. I think we'll definitely probably see them at some point.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good
They asking
answer.
if we're going to be there for season 2 too.
Are they curious?
Well, we're all still
What are they
wondering
asking
about
about
that as well. So.
This actually would be-
Boom Bob would like to know how many of us jumped out of planes. That's an excellent question.
Oh, wait, for the.
Gee, I wonder where you got that question from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have
Like,
you
how-
ever gone skydiving?
I have.
Not, and I will never.
I did
It's
once.
not a-
Nope.
wanna
Nope.
do.
So three of us. Three of us have.
I was going to say, as far as people who are coming back for season 2, I think this is the perfect time to tell Brian that you're.
Sorry, Brian.
No,
Brian, you're not making
I've been waiting until we did a live show.
See, this
So
is,
I couldn't possibly
it's-
take it back.
It's not funny because they might think that's true.
I know, people are gonna think that's
it's-
true.
No, Brian's
It's not.
coming
We
back
love Brian.
probably.
No, yeah.
He's coming back because we need a healer.
Brian.
Okay?
We need a healer.
The nice thing is you're the cleric. We really can't lose you.
Yes.
Job security.
Yes. You're here for job security only.
Let's see what else we have here.
But
So,
wait, didn't he kill somebody at some point?
didn't who?
Who among us hasn't crit failed and killed somebody at some point? Okay.
I haven't.
Just you wait.
The fighters.
Well, actually, what's funny is Brian does very little healing as a cleric.
Am I supposed to be doing more of that?
Yeah. So much.
I'm telling you how to play the game, but yes.
My favorite part was in the very first combat that we had, where you let his friend, the NPC, just basically die. Like you kept stepping over his body to like bless people or something, where he's bleeding out and you're completely ignoring
Thank you
him.
for not mentioning that I'm the one that killed him.
Well, no, you killed.
Oh,
you
I killed
Leif's-
his friend.
Right.
Sorry about that.
That was the first thing you did.
Yeah.
Is that in the shirt district?
Yeah.
That was in the shirt.
And
Never
the worst
forget
part
that
is that I leaned over right before now. Watch this. Because I'm a really good archer, like in theory. But in
that's
practice,
what
not
was
not
the
so much.
perfect
Yeah.
moment.
Now you know never to say watch this before
Yeah.
you do anything.
Yeah.
This is a nerdy question I don't
Sure.
understand, so you guys can help me
right.
with this one. Does this mean that Brian will be the BBEG next season?
Oh,
bad
you'll have to
evil guy.
tune in. You'll have to tune in. The next 4 episodes are pretty. A lot of things are revealed.
Not happening.
Black.
The big bad
Big
evil
bad.
guy.
Oh, big bad
Big
evil
bad.
guy. All right, all right.
Yeah. You'll have to see. You'll have to see. It's possible.
Brian, you could be the BBBG.
Another question that I have here is, do you ever meet up and talk about the story outside of sessions? So we don't we don't have any, we don't.
We don't like each other. Out
We're all
No, we don't
actors.
meet up.
for
Each other
everything.
the show.
Again, too close to true to be funny.
So
Too close to true to be funny.
occasionally people will call me up and say, I want to clarify something about my character or my character's background. But we do not get together and discuss, other than right before we tape the next session, I will say, to remind you, this is what happened at the end of last session, so you understand where we are. But we don't ever discuss where we think the story's going or how the story is developing. Like I said, occasionally they will ask, I just want to clarify this. This is something my character would know. Is this, or lore questions do come up occasionally, where it's like, how does the god of death work as far as like
Things that the
or
character
Villian?
should know
just-
that
Yeah,
I might
yeah.
not know yet.
Yeah, but we don't.
We don't talk about, but I'm laughing because I think about the episode when Shea and Alexa were talking about the dream and you kicked everyone out.
Oh, yeah.
Then I watched the episode and I was like, 'cause I forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh wait, I wasn't there. I was like, oh wait.
Did you get mad on behalf of your character?
Yes, I did. Which is why I've been so evil towards Nick. So
No, it's
even though
been
I
great.
wouldn't know.
Something's gonna go
He
down.
doesn't know that. Eelynn doesn't know that, but
Sure.
Ashleigh knows that you were dreaming about another girl.
And honestly, Zin doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
She will once I
That's
get
right.
once I get a moment to talk to myself.
But that's why it's so funny because
Loving this device.
We don't talk about it. Who is it, Travis?
Demon Blood would like to know, when will the character classes be posted?
That's good.
Oh, wow, Demon Blood. So that's a really quick question. So we are going to be having a Kickstarter for season 2. And posting some of that stuff, or even maybe putting an entire source book together, will be part of that Kickstarter. It's one of those things that I have all that stuff, obviously, but putting it together in a way that I'm sure is going to make perfect sense to somebody who isn't me. I think actually that's there. I mean, you guys have got that stuff. It makes pretty good sense, but formatting it in a way that is just clean and clear and looks right.
We'll work on it for the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that's one of the things that we're planning for the Kickstarter. We also, I need to have a website to put it on, and I think we just now have a website that we should be able to put that kind of thing on. So I think you'll see that kind of stuff soon. The Kickstarter will be coming out not too long after the season 1 ends. So
The next 4 episodes.
after the next 4 episodes, which will take us to 28 episodes in season 1.
Jimmy M would like to know who made the opening music track and animation.
Yeah.
So the opening music was you.
Yes, except for episode 1.
Except for episode 1, yeah. Because we didn't have it. We didn't have the
animation.
The animation wasn't ready.
Yep, I did the opening.
Yes.
But not the animation.
And we could all sing it. It's so memorable.
Sing it for us,
And the
Brian.
and the
Go, Brian.
Brian, go ahead, sing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
and the
Take it away.
and the animation was done by one of my good friends, David Strapinis, who has worked on some huge films such as Avatar, for example. And he did the opening animation for us.
Yeah,
Stunning, by the way.
yeah, it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. For those of you who do not know, there are a couple other live plays that you've done the opening themes for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a few. Critical Role, of course, being the probably the most well-known one. And then I think I did somewhere between 12 and 14 theme songs for pretty much all the shows on Geek and Sundry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a fantastic musician.
Master TMO would like to know, how did Above Board get started? You seem to be new to YouTube, but have a large backlog of videos.
Yes. So
the
way back in the day, we were producing a show. In fact, we just recently, over the last, it was I think maybe a week ago, a video that shows the pilot episode that we have of the show that we were creating for streaming. We actually shot 6 episodes of that show right before the world went upside down. And we weren't able to finish the show because we weren't able to film or leave our homes. So we weren't able to fulfill our contract. And so that's kind of how it got started. And we shot 8 hours of shows. And I didn't want them to just go down the toilet and be completely wasted. So I started putting them out on video, and then a guy named Corey Thompson, who used to be in charge of news for the Dice Tower, and he's very well known within the board game community in particular.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, Corey.
And he approached me and he said, "Hey, would you like to make some new stuff?" And I'm like, "It'll be very expensive." And he said, "I'm rich." And I said, "Okay." And so that's kind of how Above Board was born. And a lot of the stuff, especially anytime you see hear a laugh track, although it's not really a laugh track, that was a live studio audience. That was all shot for the original streaming show. And then anytime you see us doing like extreme videos, all that kind of stuff, that's new to us. And of course, Dungeon Call.
Wait, so what other names did you have besides Above Board?
Well, no, that was the original. That was the name of the show. The name of the show was Above Board. Yeah.
No other names?
Let's see. We have.
I do have
Okay.
I have a good question for everybody around the horn here. What is your least favorite aspect of the characters you play?
Oh, okay.
And that is coming from Demon Blood again.
Well, why don't you start with you? What's the?
Oh boy, it does become difficult at times to be as stoic as I am, because I do see opportunities to interject more, but I know that it doesn't necessarily fit the character as much as it does for everybody else.
So you're saying it's really hard for you not to be as funny as you think you should be?
Yes. Yeah, that is it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that must be a real challenge
How about
for
you, Shea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here he goes.
Weirdly, like a slightly similar thing, because the main thrust of the storyline was kind of, I had no idea that I was going to be kind of the linchpin for a lot of the story, especially in the beginning of the show. And because of that, it does kind of make my character feel more, I don't know how to put it exactly, but the actions are a little bit more severe. So I feel like I can't be as like glib as I want to be.
Right.
We all are, I think, have our opportunities to be funny and make jokes, but like there are definitely times when, in service of the story, I'm less unpredictable than I tend to play when I play D&D. I love playing weird little goobers and like trash gremlins and like strange people like that, and I have to be a little bit more serious, I think, for to be.
No, bring on the trash gremlins. Come on.
I want to see some more time traveling trash gremlins.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll see.
How about you, Brian?
Well, for me, the most difficult thing for me being here, I have to say, week in, week out, is that I'm not universally recognized for how freaking awesome I am by everyone else on the cast. I'm just going to say.
Wait, your character or
about
you
your
as a
character.
person?
The character.
Yeah.
I love playing the character. No, it is difficult for me. I feel that I'm playing catch up a lot.
Well, you
because I'm being in the moment and doing what I do, and I'm every episode. I'll tell you this: I end every episode full of regret and analysis. Oh, I should have done. Oh, I could have done that. Oh, I missed opportunity because I'm learning as I'm playing, and that juggling act is difficult.
Well, you are a first-time player, and it is rough for a first-time player to play a cleric, because you have the most spell choices that any character class has, and it is a lot to keep track of, to the point where, I mean, we made a joke, but it took, what was it, 22 episodes or something, or maybe it was 20 episodes before you started using one of the key powers that your character had, just because you just had so many things you could do.
Right, and by the way, I was making glass bottles. I was just keeping them for myself.
Yeah, you just didn't know how they
a little
worked.
notepad.
You had them.
Yeah, I had them.
So I finally give you a physical one, so you know.
It worked.
How about you, Dan?
Oh, I thought Ashleigh was going.
I can go.
I don't really have a least favorite. I mean, I'll
perfect.
do.
You love you
I'll
in
do
every
the
way.
politician thing, but I'll say,
Travis's favorite doesn't have a problem.
Ironic.
well, the thing I don't like is not being able to talk when I start being interrupted.
There you
but
go.
Beyond that, I actually really like that I have to slow down because that's not how I normally am, and I really love that. Like, I know I'm supposed to think of things that I don't like, but I love
It is
having.
weird that your character's become the voice of wisdom. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have seen
Or
that
reason.
coming.
Yes.
But you know, like you're kind of
It's just a kind of very simple wisdom. I think
Yeah.
like that's the
Street
thing. It's like,
wisdom.
right? He's like, well, I thought of this, and it's sort of that. Which I love. Like I love that. It's something I don't normally get to do, and it's one of the joys of doing something like D&D. Is that I tend to be a fast talker and
You're usually a magey type too.
I'm usually a stabby type. Like
Oh, really? Because in the
yeah.
last couple games of mine, I think you were a mage.
I was a rogue in both of them, but that's okay.
I don't know why.
No, I was a rogue, and then I was a warlock in the one that
Warlock.
we
Okay,
had.
that's why.
One where we were brothers.
But I do, and I do miss. I mean, I guess actually that's what I do miss. He doesn't really have a lot of access to magic, but that's okay. But
How about you, Lex?
So what is the thing that I dislike playing the most about my character? Well, the fact that I have to manage two is a lot. I don't think Travis would have given this character to me if you didn't think I could handle it. So that's always in the back of my mind.
And in the beginning, and this was pointed out by Ashleigh, I think, when she was going back and looking at the first one.
Yeah.
I was voicing Nyx for a while there.
Yeah.
And very quickly I was like, I think it's better if you do that.
No,
just because I also felt weird about like taking the agency away from you that was Nyx. And very quickly you got pretty good at it.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely weird to be talking to myself as often as I was. And there are times in which I stop filming an episode and I think, oh man, Nix did a lot, but Zin didn't do enough, and it's just because I go back and forth like I want to give more spotlight to one over the other, so it does become really difficult, but it's also like a central core part of who she is as a character, and it's one of the things I feel like that differentiates this character from pretty much any character that I've ever seen. So while I dislike it, I also really like it, if that makes sense.
Jason?
3 things.
Oh, no, just one. Pick your one.
He has him in his pocket.
The question was one.
We're all equal. My hit points, my armor class. But honestly, no. The thing that I dislike about playing the character is I have so much fun being part of the party that I have to keep reminding myself of my motivation, which is to get the amulet to heal my friend's sick daughter. I forget that half the time because I'm having so much fun doing everything else. So I have to constantly remind myself, no, that's your character wants to do this.
Right.
Real quick, back to Lex. Master TMO wants to know, have you ever started talking to yourself as a different personality in real life yet?
Yes.
I do that all the time.
Okay, there you
I'm
go.
always talking to myself, but it's usually in my brain, and I don't have to say it out loud. But yeah, I talk to myself a lot.
Axella and Alexa.
Yeah, Axella and Alexa.
Lex and Alexa.
Yeah.
Ashleigh.
I'm kind of like Dan. I really enjoy my character. She's just really great and
She is.
perfect.
She really is.
I think for me, the hardest part was learning how to play my character in this world. And I think a lot of us had the same struggle. There was so much we didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make the wrong choice.
And you have some complicated mechanics too.
I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could say pairing my weapons, you can never pair them again. So if I really love a weapon and I get something better, I can upgrade. There's that fear of me letting go what I love for something better, which life. But I think for me, the hardest part was just playing D&D. It was I was so afraid of making a mistake or doing something wrong that was going to mess up the campaign or mess up the group. And I had to learn to take choices, and Dan would always be take a risk. That's what D&D is. Move the story forward. I feel like a lot of us were just playing it safe a lot because we didn't really know how to move the story forward. So. Well,
I mean, your first real long D&D game is being played in front of cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For people to judge it. Just a moment.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, from Walla Walla, Washington, the question is, will Tarango ever get paid?
Will Tarango ever get paid?
Tarango don't know we left.
Is that from Sandeep? And by the way, let me give it up to Sandeep. One of the highlights of this season for me.
So
He
good.
was so good when he came in.
So good.
And boy, he just fit right in. And I'm really hoping, and I'm sure with his schedule allowed, that we'll be seeing Sandeep again. Yeah, I don't know.
We left Sandeep way back there.
Yeah, we'll have to see. You guys.
I mean, we did try to kill him too, right?
Not we.
No, we just
Not
punched him a
we.
bit.
Punched him a bit.
But he couldn't feel it.
Not all of us tried to hit him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Are there any plans for season 2? Is it going to continue the events of season 1 or a totally new campaign? So, as I said a little earlier, there is a season 2, and we're going to hold a Kickstarter. It is continuing the events of season 1. So,
Spoiler.
huh?
That's a spoiler.
Well, what I'm saying is we're not starting a new campaign for season 2.
And to answer the chat a bit too, we will be playing the same characters.
Yes,
Those of us in
playing the
cast.
same characters.
We survive.
So there.
Not give it all away.
There are some earth-shattering things that are going to happen, but it will be the same. It will be the same characters still on Lear, still attempting to solve the overall big bad, probably.
Which is Brian. We've determined.
I'm the BBEG.
Establishes Brian.
BBEG?
I'm the B-bag.
We also have here who is everyone's favorite character and why, and you can't pick yourself. So, and this is character, not player.
Oh, I understand. So I'm going to pick Dan's favorite character, which is me.
No.
That's what you mean, right?
So you have to say when you are playing the game, let me change this just slightly. What character do you watch sometimes and wish, I wish I was that character? Like I wish I got to play that character because that character looks like they're having so much fun. And we're going to go the other way
Jason's
around.
character would be a lot of fun. Like
Jason's character? Yeah.
Yeah, the changing and stuff like that. Like it adds another layer that you do well, which is just like trying to get out of a situation and what form best suits this situation. Like I like that a lot.
How about you? I'm going to start over here since we
me
went. Yeah,
first?
I'm going to go with you. Well,
Oh.
Leif, jumped in there, but other than that,
You asked me.
I was looking at you, but that didn't mean I was answering.
Well, I know I wouldn't want to be Shea's character because everyone just yells at you the whole time and
Yeah, of
blames
course,
you. I think. Wow, I love everyone's. I like to watch everyone. I'm gonna go with Brian's character.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Cool.
And why is that?
Because you think you could do it better?
Yeah, maybe
I
that's
think
it.
I could do it. No, I love that you help us out. You find a way to help us out. You're not a selfish player.
Ah.
You do always think about the team. You're not trying to do it for yourself. You always think about the team. Even if you held out on your glass.
Try playing Gloomhaven with him once.
You do.
Oh.
Whenever you play, you're like, okay, I'm gonna bless the first 3 characters near me, or I'm gonna give these people potions, or I'm gonna help these people. And as the fighter, it's nice to know that people are being looked after, and that's what I like about you.
Oh, that's great.
How about you, Jason?
I'm not saying this because we're sitting next to each other, but your character. I love fighter characters, and you're getting all this amazing gear. You just get to jump in and kick ass all the time, and
You also have a great storyline.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. Did I receive the gift? I received the gift, right?
I don't know.
Where we are.
I have so many
Are
items.
you talking about the sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had
Yes,
it.
yeah.
That was so freaking cool. I think that she has such cool mechanics. That's why it was really hard for me to find something
Great
I
choice,
didn't like.
Jason, yeah.
She has great mechanics.
How about you?
Thank you, Alexa. It is also me. I'm just kidding.
I was actually going to say Tyll. Because.
Of course you were.
Not because of that. Shea, I just think you've done such a great job, like holding the campaign on your shoulders. Like you're kind of the Harry Potter of the group or the Frodo of the group, and all of this weight has been pushed onto you. And I just feel like you have really handled it with grace and dignity and with finesse, and you have done a really good job.
And I remember
Yeah.
before we started, I remember calling you up. And I remember saying to you, you're going to have some heavy lifting. I just came up with the idea of what we're going to do here. And I'm just letting you know, you're going to have some heavy lifting. And you're
Wait,
like,
did you know? You knew some stuff?
I knew basically that. Like, I knew that something big was going to happen, and I had developed in my backstory the idea of the glimpse of like seeing your future, like our future together. I had developed that beforehand, but I thought that was just going to be a personal thing that I carried for a while and could never tell you. And then in the first episode, it was revealed, and then also everything else. So I didn't really know the extent of it.
And I went back and forth. There are about 4 different stories that I went back and forth trying to figure out what story I was going to tell with this, and what the overall thing was. And your backstory actually helped me lean in a particular direction. So, I mean, each one of you had backstories when you created your characters that helped me kind of inform where I was going to go with some of this stuff. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I was going to say Tyll for that, but no, I'm not going to. But for the magic and for the backstory, which and again, you've done a wonderful job. I really think so. But I'm going to say Nyx, and because of. Because I think the character is really fun. I think the idea of the secrets and dreams is really fun, and she has that cape that I want so badly. I want it so badly.
Too bad, it looks better on me.
I'm sure it does, although
And Nyx also
and is stabby
and I don't know how much of this has been revealed. I don't know how much of this has been revealed within the show. Some of it has, some it hasn't, and I may be. Well, I don't know if I'm giving a spoiler perhaps, but the idea, because when I released the character, the description of a dream watcher, you'd know this anyway, is the whole thing that is going on with her character is she worships a dream state. She worships the weave.
The weave, yeah.
Which is the dream, and her character goal, I mean, her of that character type of dream, anybody who follows Pallas, is to become one with the weave, and so Zin, who is her other person, her illusion person, over time, as you level up, she becomes more real, and you become less real, until the point where you finally get to 20th level. She becomes completely real, and you fade away into the dream. And so that's a dynamic that you play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
And you've played with that so far, but that dynamic is really beautiful. I remember when I wrote the description of all that, I actually teared up about the whole thing about what happens at the end, because you just go on and it's been neat watching you play that transition as slowly but surely Nyx becomes more and more real.
And I think I talked to you about kind of refining it in terms of Zin. She's kind of infantile, that she's like not very real at this point. And then she's going to enter a stage where she starts to kind of act like a young adult or a teenager. And then she's going to start to act like an adult near the end of her life. And that's not really something that you did, but I was like, this could, like, I could refine it as a character and as an
And what's neat is she is a little afraid of that, because she does talk to you about trying to get you to get relationships that will keep you here.
Yes.
Because she doesn't want you to leave.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
For me, it's easy, no question.
God,
I would crave Dione.
I just took my answer.
yeah.
And the reason is, I think that in a way, we're very similar characters, very similar in that she's incredibly selfish. And prior to my becoming a cleric, my life was all selfish. I lived for the moment. I lived quite a life of debauchery and self-indulgence. There was a critical moment in my life that's put me on the path that I'm on that hasn't really been discussed at this point. But it was a turning point, and I see so much of myself in her, but I also my character craves the freedom and instigator that she is, because I'm a reactor and a supporter, and my character is envious of how free she is at the same time.
She's such a fun, and this is Becca Scott's character.
It's so great.
She's such a fun and chaotic presence too,
I love
because
that.
the whole dynamic that she has with the way she casts spells is having a spell coin that's got one spell on one side, one spell on the other, and how she's always like, well, this is what I want to do. Let's see what happened. And there's been some of the most fun has been, nope, that's not what happened. Instead, it's a big cloud of
And Tobiath envies and craves that freedom and freewheeling, random instigation aspect that he is not.
Yeah, pretty cool. Shea?
I kind of agree. Dione is, well, it's such a chaotic character, like you said. And like I said, I really enjoy playing weird little chaotic characters, so that kind of fits into what I'm used to playing. And so I would immediately gravitate towards that. But also to take a bit more of a diplomatic answer is I love every single character that we have in this party, and it's like I don't know who first said this, but it is a thing that's sometimes repeated in D&D circles, that the best thing you can do is to be every other player's biggest fan. And because not only will you just enjoy the game more, but you become a lot more engaged with what's going on if you're a fan of what everyone else does. And so I try to at every moment to see what everyone else is doing and be their biggest fan, because there's something to love about what all of us are doing, I think.
I couldn't agree more. I am trying to learn from everybody, and I get so much out of watching people play. It's like, oh, that was great. Oh my God, I got to do more of that. And what a great story development that was. I didn't see that coming. And I'm enriched often by everyone's performance. And I try to take that charge. I wholeheartedly support what you were saying.
Next question. Did everyone create their own character? Oh, well, you already
gave us
that.
first.
Well, I mean, I have questions in the chat. If you
Oh,
want.
sure. No, go on.
Wait, before you ask that, I just want to preface that Shea and I did not talk about anything about our characters did before. We had a brief conversation.
What do you say we did not talk? We did talk about our
We didn't talk
characters.
about like in great detail.
No.
It was just very brief that we knew each other in the
You
past.
were the only characters that were linked, and it was more because I can't remember how that came about. But I know you had an idea, and you were saying, "What if that was actually Ashleigh?"
We were kind of brainstorming ideas. I think you came up with the idea of wanting to be connected to someone in the past, and then maybe you said it. I don't remember which of us said it, but because of the God that you follow, one of us had the idea of like, what if you were someone? What if you was someone's ex?
Sure.
And I thought that would be a fun dynamic. And then it kind of just we talked to each other about like where we grew up, how long we've known each other, why did we break up, and kind of decided maybe she doesn't quite know why I broke up with her, and then.
Right.
But that was about it.
The chat would like to know if Tyll is ever going to get a moment alone. Pretty much have all
Never have.
surrounded.
No. That is the answer.
Apparently
No,
not.
we're gonna let that happen.
Never let that happen.
Can I-
I think I'll have to kill Laric and Fellig to do it, but
So funny story. So right before we go into taping the session where the tower fall, the very, very devastating.
Yeah.
You come up to me, and you said, I'd love to get an opportunity to maybe take Ashleigh's character on like a date and be romantic. And I looked at him and I said, good luck with that. I said, I don't know that you'll
were a
get
little
that
more
opportunity.
diplomatic, but-
Yeah. I mean, I was just, because I was like, I knew what was going to happen in that episode. And I'm like, you can try, you can try, but I.
That was also these two at another table talking to us.
So he was doing his best.
That was hysterical.
the most you can give me is 10 feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ditka would like to know if there's a way to play with us.
Way to play with us.
Like I don't know, like are we going to go to conventions maybe and invite the audience to?
So potentially, I mean, we will do our best to advertise if we're going to go to a convention. We haven't been invited to a convention to go do that. Not this year yet, at least. We would certainly go if we were invited. My schedule this year is going to be rough. I'm set to direct a film this year in the summer. So I don't.
And we're all going to be in it.
Yay!
It'll be Dungeon Call the movie about board TV's foray into the world of Dungeons and Dragons.
Nope. Nothing to do with D&D.
Films for a.
But I mean, if we're in the Los Angeles area, we in fact, our director Neil runs an organization that plays D&D get-togethers. I certainly think that we could probably arrange with Neil to have a night where maybe we could do
Let the
that.
fans-
And one of the things to bid on in the Kickstarter is certainly going to be the live audience that we've been talking about setting up with all of them
Sure.
to play with us.
You joke, but we probably will have somewhere on the Kickstarter at a very high level to come and maybe play D&D with us.
I didn't think he was joking at all.
I didn't either.
Another question for the characters.
I was not.
Which characters are worried about when they are the target of the dream walk? After that first episode where that happened, I was like scribbling notes. I went home that night and I was like, no, that's not good. Like, that's not a dream.
Yeah, I was on the spot with that. I
Yeah,
gotta
you
come up
were.
with something. It took
You
a
handled it
minute.
very well.
I just lucked out with the change.
I'm just saying.
But didn't you? Did the character define what the dream was, or is the DM defining what their dream is?
No, so
Because you ran with it, but did he instigate the?
well, because she is trying to discover a secret.
And then-
so it's kind of up to you guys what kind of a secret she might discover, and then I just kind of frame, make that make sense on some level.
I just have to say, none of y'all are safe.
Yeah.
None of y'all.
We said at the same that we're scared.
Until eventually you're like, wait a second, did I see Nyx in my dream? And then
I do wish that we had the luxury of like a Critical Role where they get to play 4 hours every week.
yeah.
Which is double what we do. I do wish that we had that kind of time, because if that was a case, you'd be going in somebody's dream like every time we have a rest break.
I try
Like,
to.
And we
does.
unfortunately don't have the kind of time and luxury to do that, that is one of the things I kind of wish we had a little bit more time for.
In the chat, they were asking what other D&D shows we watch, and you just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, probably the same kind of ones that you guys. I watch Critical Role. I went back and I watched, especially when I knew Sandeep was going to be here. Sandeep did a really great one, his organization. I watched Critical Role back in the day, and I haven't been watching so much the one that they're doing now, but I watched a lot of their first two. I've seen some of Dimension 20 stuff.
High Rollers.
Yeah.
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 Stranger Things.
The chat does appreciate that we don't do 4 hours every week. They don't have enough time.
That's also fair.
Give them time to catch up.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, and when we started out and trying to figure out the format, we felt that the sweet spot would be between 1 and 2 hours.
And Ditka would like to know where your hair is, Shea.
Oh, it flew away. I was thinking about keeping it until the end of the season, and it was just a little too frustrating to maintain. So I cut it off. I'm gonna do some other interesting things with it once this grows out a little bit. But for now, I just shaved it as
I will
as short as I could.
because there was a question here. I will say that about creating your characters. We did all create our characters collectively. We started in the same room, and we kind of were like, not so much the roles and the characters, but of like, I want to be a mage, I want to be a rogue, I want to be, and I will say this, your character, the choice, the Time Walker, if you hadn't made that choice, we wouldn't have this story.
Oh yeah.
Like it would have been impossible. The whole thing about the missing second wouldn't exist without that. And it's one of the reasons why I know part of the way into it, because you said, I think I'm going to be, and then you were like, I think I want to be a mechamancer.
Yeah, that was.
And I was like,
going between the two.
No, you don't, because I'd already kind of started to go down that path. I was like, no.
Yeah,
no.
you were spinning some tales like, oh, it's really hard for mechamancies in early levels because they have to buy all their stuff.
Complete
and I'm
BS. I just didn't want you to at that point to be. I had already started to lock into the time thing.
Well, because you were talking about there's so many different options that we had available to us, but I knew I wanted to play a spellcaster of some kind, and he had said that there's 10 unique spellcasters in.
Yeah, and by unique, that the way their magic works is completely different than other mages.
And so that was just from this jump, like the area that I was looking at. And so the two that were really at the top of my list were Time Walkers and the Mechamancers, which were basically just Iron Man suit people. And so
more
it's like
Pokemon.
more Pokemon?
Yeah, because they had spells that are in like these balls, and they throw them out, and then they.
Man, if you had said that, I would be like, no, there's no chance I'm doing Time Walker.
Yeah.
Mechamancer all the way. No, I was kind of going between it, and clearly Mr. Puppeteer over here made me go in one direction, but
Softly
I'm not.
persuaded you.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't regret it. I love all the time stuff.
Hello.
Hello, make
How do we call?
Yes.
Hello.
This is coming from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Cast, are there any D&D tropes that you hate?
Any D&D tropes?
Yes.
Yeah. So, in fact, I point them out sometimes when I play it. When we were just recently in the Dragon Temple, the statues coming to life.
Right, yeah.
You know, I'm so, because every time you have a statue of any kind in D&D, everybody's like, well, these are going to come to life. And I even did that. I did that earlier with the Muppets. I had them coming out of the wall. And it's hard not to have that, but that does drive me nuts. I did have it happen in there, but I will say the reason they were in there was because they pull people into the walls, which was so it's a little different. But
Wait, didn't the dragons come to life too, or
no,
not?
no, the dragons did not. No, it was the dust and sand.
But he was really selling it.
Yeah.
They were so
realistic, so lifelike. Yeah.
You can see movement within they're so well crafted.
You know, I mean, the biggest thing, tropes. I mean, there are a lot of tropes in D&D that are tiresome. I think it's less in D&D than just in fantasy writing in general. But I will say, like, that the most difficult, the thing that I hate the most as a player is when it feels like the dungeon master takes away the player agency, where it makes it feel like he's got a story and you're barreling down that story. So I work real hard to have a lot of different ways that the story can go and try and let you guys guide that path as much as possible. Like just recently, there were, when I presented you with 3 different options of how you could go in kind of to the next, who was it? Oh, it was Jontas Vicarius, the Time Walker, that basically said, here are the 3 ways. I had ways that all 3 of those things could have gone, depending on where you could go, and knew that I had a player character with a flying vessel that I could get you to any of those places. So I just work real hard at giving you options, but not forcing you down a path. And so that at the end of the day, the story is just as much yours as it is mine.
I just wonder why berserkers always have to be so mad. I mean, can't they just be like really calm and then go, oh, sorry, let me put down my tea and go into a rage, but like,
a friend of mine did like a homebrew thing. It was for like a D&D podcast one-shot thing. And he was doing a barbarian, but instead of rage, he flipped the idea of it and he referred to it as a jubilance. And so he just loved combat so much that he would fly into a jubilance and would just be dancing around the battlefield like clean.
And I will say along those lines of tropes, a lot of the character types in the game are direct attacks against those kind of tropes. Like I have a thing called the Golden Rogue, which I believe is under the god of honor, Ondir, I think. And literally the Golden Rogue is a rogue that robs thieves things that other people have stolen. They absolutely cannot steal something that has not already been stolen. So they work against other thieves. So it's things like trying to take some of those tropes and put them on their head. But yeah, that's great. That's a great question.
There is a kind of more inside baseball question. Are we going to be able to secure the board game capital of the world for season 2? A lot of people are asking if Brett Sheridan is ever going to make an appearance.
So I don't know if has this come up on Everything's a Game? So because we talked to Brett about this. Brett would rather take a razor blade across his tongue and then drink lemon juice than play Dungeons and Dragons. It terrifies him.
But I will say I was the same way.
But it terrifies him, and you know Brett.
You see,
If anyone knows Brett, you know Brett.
Yeah, but it made you angry, and then like the idea of playing Dungeons, you were like, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. And then you started doing it. You were like, oh my god, I really love this, and I
know
hate myself
I get
for
to
it.
be angry.
Yeah, I know.
I will say this, although the character you played when it wasn't necessarily like an angry.
No,
No,
it wasn't. You were a monk. Yeah, you were a monk.
That's kind of an angry monk.
And it's just funny
It was an angry
because for years, Leif has said, because we've known each other 20 plus years. And I've said to Leif, you would love D&D. You would love it. And he's like, I will never play D&D ever, ever, ever.
Nerd is how we would punctuate it.
That could
Never
be
play
a
it.
Kickstarter
Nerd.
stretch goal. Like Brett,
making Brett play
D&D.
D&D.
And I think that
Yeah. And I'll find the most complex character with the most math.
Most math.
Yeah.
He's a mathomancer.
A mathomancer. I'll make a mathomancer for him.
In order to cast a spell, he needs to do high-level algebra.
Make him do, like algebra
Yeah,
in his
exactly.
head.
Yeah, exactly.
No paper and pencil allowed or calculator.
He'd love that.
Do we have any merch in the works?
We do.
Would
So
like to know?
as we get ready to do the Kickstarter, merchandise will be part of that Kickstarter, and any merchandise that we don't use for the Kickstarter, we will put on sale. So we'll start having some merchandise for.
Cool.
Brett has chimed in on the chat.
What did he say?
He's on board.
He is not on board. Okay.
stretch goal. That's you.
Below board.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but the chat is saying that Brett is the best silent, invisible character of the season. So
Yeah.
Good job, Brett.
good job.
Well done.
Brett can play. We'll give Tyll an invisible servant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A silent, invisible
Yeah. Well,
servant
There's a spell.
sits behind him.
Yeah.
Spell from the future.
Yeah.
I'll make him a statue doesn't come to life.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And by the way, anytime you cast a spell from the future, I just immediately see Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Remember the trash cans.
So
Speaking of math, I have to do math every time I cast a spell. The way that the paradox magic works.
So there is a 5th level spell for Time Walkers that basically is that, where you go back in time and tell yourself, don't forget this. bring this. And so you will just have it in your pocket. You'll have it in your pocket as if you had prepared it, because your future self had told yourself to do that. So it's basically a Bill and Ted.
Don't forget to wind your watch.
The chat is asking for Brett to appear for 20 minutes, and I think Brett has agreed to 20 minutes of an appearance.
All right.
All right.
And the nice thing is Brett can't tell time. So we can just get him for as long as we want.
Perfect.
He'll say, is 20 minutes up yet? No, it's not, Brett.
not even close, man.
William Jeske has asked, and this is again too nerdy for me to understand, any elements from Greyhawk that should be reintroduced in contemporary D&D settings?
Well, Greyhawk was one of the best D&D settings of all time. I'm not exactly sure, though, what you mean by that as far as, like, are you talking about the Pantheon? Are you talking about mechanics?
Oh, man, this is all going
Well,
over
they're
my head.
reintroducing
So
some
fun.
of it.
Yeah, I know some of it.
No,
Yeah.
So I think they're redoing it for a modern age.
Yeah. Greyhawk's a great setting.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first setting ever.
Yeah.
It's Gary Gygax's setting, so.
I knew that. Too. We knew that.
Well, I would say even
We were
like,
talking about
so
it.
I've played a ton of D&D, but almost every D&D game that I've ever played was homebrew, or was just a story that someone had come up with. So like, I have no experience with the Greyhawk setting.
And Greyhawk is a homebrew setting. It is.
Okay.
It just happens to be Gary Gygax's
Yeah.
homebrew setting. So no, because all the spells like Big B's, hand, all those wizard where it's a wizard's name and then the spell. Those were all player characters in his campaign.
Right.
That became people. That became the name to those spells. You may find in season 2 some spells in my campaign with Febrib's something or other. And that is kind of my version
kind of like
that.
smell a little bit better.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's Febrib's.
Yeah.
It is one of the great things.
Definitely heard from Breeze.
It is one of the great things about D&D, though, is that even if they don't update Greyhawk, you can still play in that world. Like, you just have to brew it yourself. But
Tensor's floating disc. That's another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tobiath knows
Anything
all
else from chat?
Oh, you want more questions?
Yeah.
Anything
else pressing for chat?
Huh?
Anything else pressing from chat?
Not pressing. Saber Factor asks, does Travis currently own any shirts that don't have the above board logo on them?
It's got one that's got flames on it.
So, if you watch early, I wore a lot of different shirts. The reason I stopped wearing any shirts but this one is I got tired of, when we tape multiple things, changing into multiple things and then trying to figure out if we have to do pickups, because I'm the only one who has to do pickups. Oh, something went wrong, so the DM's got to do pickups of figuring out what outfit I wore. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear the same shirt every time so that I don't have to worry about that. And if I have to do pickups, I don't have to figure it out.
You did wear different
Christmas and
outfits.
New Year's, I did
so
wear different clothes.
watch
But that's
those.
why I do that, is because I got tired of trying to figure out what to wear for what
Need a
pickup.
script.
And
So-
because you want to be just like Steve Jobs, right?
And because, yes, I want to be just like
Anastasia Rowland would like to know what we are incorporating as far as the 2024 rule set goes and what we like or dislike
I'll tell
about
ya.
the new rules.
So my goal is going into season 2 is to completely, from the rule set perspective, obviously it's still homebrewed, but from the rule set's perspective, to move completely over to 2024 Dungeons and Dragons. And we have started to incorporate some of that already, and I have gone back and we've changed some feats that the characters have taken to try and get into that line.
And
but
some features of those feats that
Yeah,
some characters
yeah.
are very sad that have gone away.
Yeah,
or,
but hopefully by the time we start season 2, we will have completed that trend.
Speaking of, when do we expect season 2 to premiere? And
So we have 1 month's worth of, four more weeks of season 1 until we reach the conclusion of season 1. We will then have a Kickstarter, and we will probably have I'm approximating here, but probably have 2 months where we have a gap between the end of season 1. The Kickstarter will happen during that time, and then we will begin season 2. And so, yeah, so we're probably talking.
So stick around.
So stick around.
Well, we're allowed to say that we've taped the rest of season 1, but we're not going to say anything
Yes.
about what we
It's gonna
taped.
be
But
fun.
Yes.
tune in. It's
Remember
pretty
when we-
one crazy.
Yep. All right,
You're gonna
I'm
wanna
going to
tune in.
stop you right there because just in case you.
I'm not going to say it.
Don't
I know,
tell
you're
them
not gonna
about
talk about the
how
time
that
everything-
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on our first live Q&A. We may do more of these. You know, if we hear a lot of feedback from you that you'd like to see more of them. Again, please tune in for the next 4. I will say I will have one more question here. Somebody said, "How can I help support Dungeon Call?" The best way you can help us is tell people that we exist. We get great feedback from those of you who are watching. We just wish more of you were watching. So if you have a D&D group and you really love what you see, let them know about us. If you have friends that play, or even friends that don't play but are into fantasy or live plays, please let them know that we're out there. And then, because of the way that the YouTube algorithm works, give us likes, give us comments. All that kind of stuff drives the algorithm so we get out to more and more people. Because we would love to do this not just for a season 2, but for a season 3.
You know what doesn't drive my algorithm?
What's that?
That nobody picked Fellig as their favorite character who they
Yeah.
want to play. Nobody.
Strange
None of my
that.
cast did.
Nobody picked Laric either.
Travis did.
All right, I did.
That's different.
All right, thank you everybody for our Above Board and Dungeon Call. I thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week back to our regular scheduled program.
Hello. Thank you.
Oh, we have one more goal.
What?
Travis, did you have fun?
Have fun? I always have fun.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Wait, one more call.